Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you all are fit and fine. Here we are with our lecture number 12, unit number 10. It's a beautiful poem by William Wordsworth, and the title of the poem is The World is Too Much with Us. First year English compulsory. This is Sumaira Zahir from Army Bernal College for Girls. First of all, about William Wordsworth, I hope you all know that William Wordsworth is famous as a poet of nature as well. Was born on April 7th, 1770 and died on 23rd April 1850. He was considered the poet who, with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, launched the Romantic period with their joint publication of lyrical ballads in 1798, where his most noted contribution remains the preface, detailing the nature of the collection as it looks to reach out to the common man, placing verse in a form to which he can relate. Of Wordsworth's most noted contributions to the poetic realm, his sonnets remain the forces that resonate above all else, encompassing the sense sublime. Wordsworth feels through nature and the empowering religious connection he forges. This is the beautiful poem before you, along with the rhyming scheme as well. So, since it's a sonnet, a sonnet is a 14-line poem, 14-line stanza, in which the first 8 lines are called octet. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are octave. And remaining 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 6 sestet. So first we will discuss the rhyming scheme here. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Soon is not rhyming with power, so this is B. Soon is A, this is B. Little we see in nature that is ours. Ours and powers, so this is B again, BB. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon, A. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon, A. The winds that will be howling at all hours, B. And air upgathered now like sleeping flowers, B. For this, for everything we are out of tune, A. It moves us not, great God, I would rather be, C. A pagan suckled in a creed outworn, D. So might I standing on this pleasant lea, C. Have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, D. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, C. Or hear old Triton blow his reed horn, D. Sordid, boon I have highlighted. Sordid means something very dirty, useless. Boon means blessing, so it's an oxymoron. When two different terms are written in the form of a conjunction, it is called an oxymoron. Like two different terms are taken to give one meaning or used as a conjunction, it is called an oxymoron. First of all, the theme of the poem. In this poem, Wordsworth bemoans, laments the loss of individual human talents lost to the materialistic society in which we live. To Wordsworth, the poet and the common man are placed on the same level. as both have extraordinary talents that could change the world, yet give into the fabricated, falsified life which deviates from nature and the beauty of spiritual existence. Works by Wordsworth follow the same themes and are representative of the Romantic period and the sentiments of its writers, which urge society to rely on their spiritual connection and their own artistic talents seen through nature and its beauty rather than through logic, reason, and materialistic thought. The loss of nature and the natural world and the impacts of the busy life. The poet argues that people have forsaken their souls for material gains. In fact, the whole text of the poem denounces materialism, like he is against materialism and materialistic approach of humanity, which the poet has seen around him. To him, this approach of mankind deprives them of the true purpose of their life. Using figurative language, Wordsworth highlights the idea that nature gives spiritual pleasure and enjoyment, and that we should know its worth, like how valuable nature is. He adds that the lust of power and money has made people hollow, as they have readily given their hearts to the things they need for material comfort. So he is very much in favor of nature. Summary of the poem. Angrily, like the tone of the speaker or the poet is angry here. So angrily the speaker accuses, blames the modern age of having lost its connection to nature and to everything that is meaningful. He says in these words in the poem, getting and spending, like you are earning money and then you are spending it. We lay waste our powers. In this way we are wasting our powers gifted by God. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid wound. He says that even when the sea bares her bosom to the moon and the winds howl, humanity is still out of tune. Like the sea is still present, giving a beautiful picture, and the winds are still howling, but we human beings or humanity is still out of tune and looks on uncaringly at the spectacle of the storm. The speaker wishes that he were a pagan. Pagan is a person who does not believe in any god. So he wishes that he should be a pagan, raised according to a different vision of the world, so that standing on this pleasant lea means a grassy land, he might see images of ancient gods rising from the waves, a sight that would cheer him greatly. He imagines Proteus rising from the sea and Triton blowing his wreathed horn. Proteus and Triton are the Greek mythological gods. The speaker complains that the world is too overwhelming for us to appreciate it. We are so concerned about time and money that we use up all our energy. People want to accumulate stuff, so they see nothing in nature, like they are just running after money making and they have nothing to do with nature or beautiful surroundings around us that they can own. According to the speaker, we have sold our souls, like we have sold our souls to the material benefits or to luxuries. We should be able to appreciate beautiful events like the moon shining over the ocean and the blowing of strong winds, but it's like we are on a different wavelength from nature. We are kind of like, the speaker would rather be a pagan who worships an outdated religion, so that, like he says, I should not be a Christian, rather I would love to be a pagan who worships an old religion, so that when he gazes out on the ocean, as the poet is doing now, he might feel less sad. If he were a pagan, he would see wild mythological gods like Proteus, who can take many shapes, and Triton, who looks like a mermaid man. So this is what he wants from us. Like he wants from us that we should appreciate nature, we should like nature, we should enjoy nature, rather than running after materialistic approach and benefits. Critical analysis. The World is Too Much With Us is a Petrarchan sonnet written by William Wordsworth. Its first eight lines, the octet, they pose a question or a problem, like they raise a question or a problem, or they present a problem. And its last 6 lines, the sestet, give a response or solution. The problem in this sonnet's octet is that humanity has lost its respect for and connection with nature. Form of the poem. This poem is one of the many excellent sonnets Wordsworth wrote in the early 1800s. Sonnets are 14-line poetic inventions written in Iambic Pentameter. There are several varieties of sonnets. The World Is Too Much With Us takes the form of a Petrarchan sonnet, modeled after the work of Petrarch. Petrarch is the name of an Italian poet of the early Renaissance. A Petrarchan sonnet is divided into 2 parts, an octave, the first 8 lines of the poem, and a sestet, the final 6 lines. The rhyme scheme of a Petrarchan sonnet is somewhat variable. In this case, the octave follows a rhyme scheme of A-B, B-A, A-B, B-A, and the sestet follows a rhyme scheme of C-D, C-D, C-D. In most Petrarchan sonnets, the octave proposes a question or an idea that the sestet answers, comments, or criticizes. Popularity of the poem. This sonnet is one of the best compositions by William Wordsworth that connects man with nature. It was first published in 1907. The popularity of the poem rests in its theme of how man has lost his connection with nature due to the worldly concerns. This change in man has taken away their pleasures, joys, and comforts of the peaceful nature. Criticism on the materialistic world. The poem presents Wordsworth's discontent over, like he is not happy over the loss of nature caused by the rat race. Rat race means money-making race of mankind for material comforts. He claims that the materialistic approach of mankind has transformed human beings into senseless individuals. He further adds that humans do not realize their loss as they are obsessed with money, power, and possessions, and fail to perceive beauty in nature. By discussing the pristine glory of natural objects, he shows that people are missing these delights in the race of the artificial life. Like the life we people are living is totally artificial, like we are confined in big houses, and like we are living away from the running streams and the blowing winds and the beautiful surroundings. So this is an artificial life as compared to the natural life. He swears that he would rather be a poor pagan connected with the natural world rather than a rich man alienated from its bliss, from the blessings of nature. He wants to see and hear the Greek gods and feels less forlorn, lonely. Pagan is a person who does not believe in one God. This is a beautiful depiction of the book in which these sonnets are present, contained. This is the title of the book, The World Is Too Much With Us. Analysis of literary devices. Literary devices are used to bring richness and clarity to the text. The writers use them to make their text appealing and meaningful. Wordsworth too has employed some literary devices, and the analysis of some of the literary devices are here. Enjambment, I have told you in the previous lecture as well, it is defined as a thought in a verse that does not come to an end at the end of a line or line break. Rather, it rolls over to the next line. For example, great God, I would rather be. Rather be means that the connection is or the meaning is continued here in the next line. A pagan suckled in a creed outworn. Personification. Personification is to attribute human characteristics to non-human or even inanimate objects. The poet has used personification at several places in this poem, such as sea that bears her bosom. Now sea is considered a woman. To the moon, and then the winds that will be howling at hours. Winds are considered some kind of living object, living being. It is living, but like human beings. It is given the attributes of human beings. And sleeping flowers, like flowers are sleeping just like human beings. All these expressions make nature possess human-like qualities, like yearning for love, weeping for love, or longing for love, sleeping and soothing. So these are all human qualities which are given to winds and moon and then flowers. Allusion is an indirect or direct reference to a person, place, thing, or an idea of historical, cultural, political, or literary significance. This poem contains allusions to Greek mythology. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his reed horn. Imagery. The use of imagery makes the readers visualize the writer's feelings, emotions, or ideas. Wordsworth has used images appealing to the sense of hearing, such as winds that will be howling, to the sense of touch as sleeping flowers, and to the sense of sight as Proteus rising from the sea. It seems as if you yourself you are witnessing Proteus, the Greek god, rising from the sea. Consonance is the repetition of consonant sounds in the same line, such as the sound of S in have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, and F and T sounds in for this, for everything, we are out of tune. Simile is a device used to compare things and with each other to let the reader know what it is. There is only one simile used in line number 7, and that is, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. Like sleeping flowers is the simile. The poet has linked the howling of the winds with the sleeping flowers. Metaphor. There are two metaphors used in this poem. One of the metaphors is in the 10th line, suckle in a creed outworn. Here creed represents mother that nurses her child. Suckle means milking the child. So creed here means the mother is milking the child. Assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in the same line, such as O sound or hear old Triton blow his reed horn. This is O repeated again and again. An analysis of poetic devices which are used here. First of all, sonnet. A sonnet is a 14-line poem in which with one idea flowing throughout the text. There are many types of sonnets, such as Petrarchan or Shakespearean. This one is Petrarchan sonnet. It's not Shakespearean sonnet. Octave. An octave is a verse from form consisting of 8 lines. And sestet, we have just discussed, is a verse form consisting of 6 lines, or a stanza consisting of 6 lines. This term refers to the final 6 lines of a sonnet. Then rhyme scheme. The whole poem follows A, B, B, A, B, B, A rhyme pattern in the octave, and C, D, C, D, C, D in the sestet. Iambic pentameter. It is a type of meter consisting of 5 iambs. The poem comprises iambic pentameter such as a pagan, one I am suckled, second I am in, third, creed, fourth, and out, fifth. A pagan suckled in a creed, out. So there are 5 iambic iams in iambic pentameter. You can call them syllables as well. Quotes to be used. These lines can be used in a speech to discuss mesmerizing, captivating, enchanting. Like these lines of the poem can be used as quotes when you are writing an essay or if you are preparing a speech. So you can go through them yourself. Triton is a demigod of sea with lower part of his body is just like a fish or a mermaid. And reed horn is the conch which he is going to blow. Proteus is also a sea god in Greek mythology. What emotions dominate the poem? So the world is too much with us. In this poem, the speaker laments the loss of man's intimate connection to the natural world in the wake of industrialism and a greater desire for worldly success. When Wordsworth uses the term world, he is not describing the planet but society. So the world he used in the title stands for society. Like our society is becoming materialistic day by day. The World is Too Much With Us is a sonnet by Wordsworth published in 1807 and the central figure of the English Romantic movement. The poem laments the withering connection between mankind and nature, blaming industrial society for replacing the connection with material pursuits. The most apparent symbol in this poem is the reference in line 1 to the world. So the world is a reference to anything that is not nature. Wordsworth would have seen this as corruption. So therefore, world is a symbol for corruption here. The speaker would rather be a pagan who worships an outdated religion so that when he gazes out on the ocean as he is doing now, he might feel less sad. If he were a pagan, he would see wild mythological gods like Proteus who can take many shapes and Triton who looks like a mermaid man. So he wishes to be a pagan rather than a Christian who has left natural pursuit and is running after materialistic pursuit. This is what he means. Lines 1 to 2. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. The poem opens with a complaint. Again, there is a complaint because he is lamenting, saying that the world is out of whack and that people are destroying themselves with consumerism, getting and spending. Like they are just buying, they are just spending. They are just buying, they are just spending. The world is too much with us sounds odd and could mean several things. It could mean that the world, life or society or life in the city, contemporary society is just too much. Like we are very much into busy with society is just too much, as is this is too much for me and I can't take it anymore. The world or society might refer to the natural world instead of the city, in which case it would mean that humanity is so busy that they don't have time for the natural world because it's too much. It could also mean mankind or society is a burden on the world, as in there's not enough space for both man and the earth, or mankind has upset a delicate balance. Late and soon is a strange phrase. It could mean sooner or later, or it could mean we have done this recently or in the past and will do it in the future as well. So what he means, we have enough of worldly things, getting and spending. Like we have so much, we have done so much of this. We have spent a lot, we have bought a lot, and what we are doing? Like we are just running away from nature and we are Doing what? If we struggle and stick with more than these things, we will spoil our powers and we will waste our powers and sensibility as well. If we are running after the material pursuits and running away from nature that is made for us, if we are engrossed in materialistic world instead of appreciating the beauty of nature, so definitely this is a dirty gain and we are spoiling all our powers. Like we are getting nothing in return if we are getting away from nature. This is what he wants to say. Line number 3 to 4. Little we see in nature that is ours. See, these lines itself are giving you the meaning. We are not looking into the nature. We are like what nature is carrying for us. You can look around yourself in this whole environment these days, and the global warming we have discussed in our previous chapter as well. Like nature was responsible for all our breathing and good environment and our drinkable water and all these things. Lekin what man has done to nature? So here we see he's saying little we see in nature that is ours. Like oxygen is for us, air is for us, beautiful blowing winds are for us, soothing atmosphere is for us, drinkable water is for us. This is all what nature is carrying for us. We have given our hearts away, but what we have done, we are going away from nature. We are destroying ourselves. A sordid boon. What we have gained, that is terribly a loss. It's nothing as compared to nature. The poem's tone of complaint continues as the speaker describes a rift between nature and humanity. We get a potential clue as to the identity of at least one of those powers described in line 2, the ability to feel, which we have lost because we have given our hearts away. Now we cannot feel nature. We cannot breathe in nature. We are very much confined inside our homes and we are planning to earn more and more money. The phrase little we see in nature that is ours is tricky and can mean several related things. We have become so absorbed in consumerism, like we are becoming a businessman, buying and selling and running after materialistic things in another world that we no longer seem a part of nature. Now we are not in nature or natural surrounding. We are in another world that is totally based on consumerism. Alternatively, nature can't be got or spent. Like we cannot buy oxygen, we cannot buy air, we cannot buy water, we cannot buy fertile soil. So because it isn't commodity, because it's not something to be bought, it's not something which is available in the market. We can go, we can spend money and we can buy it. No. Or it is not something that can be manufactured. How can a man manufacture drinkable water? How can a man manufacture air? How can a man manufacture rain? So it does not seem like it has anything to offer us. A boon is a reward, a benefit, or something for which you should be thankful. Sordid means base, useless, dirty, or vile. The speaker is being sarcastic here, almost as if he were saying, wow, it's so great that we have handed over our hearts. Just for what? For nothing. Just for a couch, a sofa, a big house, nothing else. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. So beautiful lines. The poet elaborates on man's alienation from nature, like man is getting away from nature, claiming that humanity is no longer susceptible to the influence of the sea. No one is under the impact of the sea. No one is impressed by the sea. No one is impressed by the winds blowing and basically everything else in nature. Tune is interesting. It can mean out of tune, like we are now out of tune since we are getting away from nature, in the sense that we are out of touch with nature. But it also suggests something like attuned as well. The sea is not literally taking her shirt off here. The speaker is elegantly describing the ways in which the ocean tides are affected by the moon, or just how the sea appears to him in its relationship with the moon. The speaker describes the winds at rest. They are sleeping flowers, like when the winds are resting. So the speaker says they are behaving like sleeping flowers that will howl when they wake up. Wait a minute, flowers howling? Isn't it weird? But he has compared them. For is more complicated than it looks. It can mean both that we are not in the right tune, we are not in the right mood, we are not in the right situation for the natural world. We do not deserve to be in the natural world in the right frame of mind to get it. It could also mean because, as in because of these things, we are out of tune, like we are not suitable for natural surrounding, or we have made ourselves as if we are something stranger now. The ocean that reflects the moonlight on its surface, and the peaceful winds at night, and the flowers or the petals folded in the cold. These natural features still exist, but we just can't appreciate them. Our lives have nothing to do with the rhythm of natural world. As a result, those rhythms have no emotional impact on us. It moves us not, great God. Now he is addressing God here. I would rather be like, if such a beautiful scenery or scenario has no impact on us or on human beings or on humanity or on mankind, then it is totally useless to live here. Or it is useless to be a Christian or a modern man living in today's world. I would rather be a pagan people who never believed in any god in the previous or ancient times. So I would love to be a pagan, suckled in a creed, outworn in ancient times. In some sonnets, including this one, important things happen in the 9th line. There is a shift or turn that moves the poem in another direction. While the speaker reiterates the claim he's been making all along, humanity and nature are alienated from one another. He also tells us how he wishes things were, at least for him. He appeals to the Christian God. The capitalization means he has a specific monotheistic deity in mind. Deity, any god. And he says he would rather be a pagan who was raised believing in some antiquated, outworn, old, primitive religions. Creed stands for religion as well. To wish to be a pagan in 1807, when the poem was published, would be like saying, I wish I could wear clothes or do things that were in fashion 1,000 years ago. Wait a second, he would rather be a pagan than what? Than someone who is not moved by nature. See, this idea gives you, this line gives you the idea that he is so much annoyed by the human beings or the industrialization or the materialistic approach of human beings that he is saying, I would love to be a pagan than to be residing in today's world as a modern Christian. Suckle just means nursed at breast or nourished by the mother, or breastfeeded by the mother. It has actually he means that if it has no effect on us, because as we are so engrossed in worldly pursuits, so my God, you do not help me to divert the attention of people from the materialism towards nature. I wish I were raised in a culture that worshipped many gods, though that religion is now outdated. But still, I wish I should have born in that or in those times than these times. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, lea is grassy land, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, lonely. The speaker explains why he would rather be a pagan. If he were, then he could look at the land in front of him and see something that would not make him feel so lonely and so sad and forlorn. A lea is a meadow or an open grass land. Wait a second. Was not the speaker just telling us about the sea? How did we get to the meadow? Maybe he's standing in a meadow overlooking the sea. The speaker wants glimpses of something, but we don't know what. He suggests that if he were a pagan, he would only see things in snatches for a brief moment, in the blink of an eye. And this isn't even guaranteed. He says he might have glimpses. So what he means to say that standing on this pleasant patch of grass, I might be calmed and soothed at heart by the image of the ocean before me, and I might not feel forlorn or lonely. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his reed horn. Horn is the conch that he used to blow, Triton used to blow. Reed means covered. The speaker elaborates on those potential glimpses. He says that he might see Proteus coming out of the ocean, like if he were pagan, so he might see Proteus coming out of the ocean, or Triton blowing his horn. Proteus is a sea god in Greek mythology. He had the ability to prophesy. To prophesy means to foresee the future, but did not like doing it. If someone grabbed a hold of him and tried to make him predict the future, he would change his shape and try to get away. The modern word protean, meaning variable or changing a lot, comes from his name. Triton was a son of Poseidon, the Greek god of sea. He had a conch shell that he blew into in order to excite or calm the waves. Reed means something like twisted, sinewy, having coils. The reed horn is a reference to Triton's conch shell, which is covered. So what he means to say, have sight of Proteus, again he's playing to the Christian God and saying, or addressing the Christian God, and he's saying that I might see the Greek god Proteus taking shape before my own eyes, rising from the deep sea, or hear another Greek god, Triton, blowing his legendary spiral grooved conch shell to soothe myself, if I were a pagan and in the ancient times. Tone of the poem is very sad and it's very desperate, and it shows the frustration of the poet. The poet is throughout lamenting on the loss of nature, like people are getting away from nature and becoming materialistic. Now there's a reference to the context I have written. These lines have been taken from the poem The World is Too Much with Us, written by William Wordsworth. This T should be capitalized. In this poem, the poet laments over the people who have become materialistic and have tied themselves to worldly things. Human beings have lost the ability to appreciate, celebrate, acknowledge, love, and they should be soothed by nature. Rather, they are running against money making, running after money making. He laments why people do not have a connection with nature, which is ours. Like nature is something which belongs to us. He became so hopeless that he wished to be a pagan than a Christian. So this one reference to the context you can write with all the lines or with all the stanzas given to you. One is the same is enough. So here we are done with the poem. It's a beautiful poem, and I can end with the lines, famous lines of John Keats. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it never goes to nothingness. Like if we appreciate a piece of beauty, if we draw a painting, if we write a poem, it will always remain with us, rather than running after money or materialistic pursuits. So it's all for today. Take very good care of yourselves and your parents, and help each other and help your classmates as well. If someone is newcomer, do guide her on the WhatsApp group. Allah Hafiz. Take care.